We've all heard the term before that, perception is more important than reality. Or maybe you didn't hear it, but you heard something to that variation. That perception is important. You need to make sure you have a good perception. Or fake it till you make it kind of idea. But how does this translate into sales when it comes towards more? When it comes towards being perceived as bigger or better than you are? Is this deceptive? Is this going to bring lack of credibility? Or is this a tool that is simple and powerful and you can utilize it to be more successful? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the strategy and give you an example of how you can take advantage of it in an ethical and effective way. Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today and the opportunity to chat with you and share with you some insights, some things that we are seeing that's working effectively for our business and also for our clients. If you're watching this video for the very first time, if you're listening to our podcast for the first time, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed as of yet, what up with that? Come on, man. Just go ahead and hit subscribe and let me know that you care about us and you want to help us out. Because when you do, that'll make sure our team get all excited. They'll say people are actually listening to our stuff and they'll want to produce more content. Hit the little bell as well, so the chime, so you know whenever we produce a new episode. Just like this one, today we're going to bring you some value, some things that you can take advantage of and apply. And we're going to talk about the idea of perception and how perception plays a critical role in sales and how specifically how you can try this. And also the concept of strength with numbers. We worked at a software company, and I say we, and one of my friends, Jared Easley, a good friend of mine as well, and he was a project manager. And the CEO had a philosophy that he used to apply. Let me tell you the story first. But the CEO came one day and saw Jared working at his desk and said, "Jared, I need you to come to the conference room with me. We're doing a demonstration." Jared had no clue what was going on. Also, he pulled somebody else, another team member, to say, "Hey, come in the room with me." When they got there, the CEO kind of helped update him and let him know what's going on. The client was coming in, or the prospect, and they were bringing 3 individuals. The CEO was going to have the meeting with them by himself. By taking 2 other individuals in the room, he felt that would help balance the power or make it seem that he is not going to get beat up on. Jared took this as a really interesting philosophy because it made a huge different dynamics. Jared said in the actual meeting, they said nothing. They just shook hands and they sat back and they watched the demonstration. But to the client, there was a whole slew of things going on. It made the perception that the company had a plan, that there was a strategy, that this was bigger, that they were more professional, and the less likelihood of them being willing to try to put more pressure, even though they're dealing with the CEO, on the CEO during that time. It was a huge win. It was a huge guidance or a huge strength forward to the sales team and to Jared, because now he shared that philosophy with me. When we did demonstration, we never did demonstration by ourselves because of the power, again, of the strength in numbers, and it showed the perception that, yes, it's not just a sales rep presenting something that they feel is important. This is an engineer. This is a project manager who has no stake in the game, but is going to share their insights and their strategy that worked. Now, I had an experience this weekend. I had a guy come by who was going to do some work for our office, and he was going to paint the office because, I don't want to go ahead and paint the office by myself. It's just too much work. In this situation, this guy, I thought he was coming by himself, but he brought somebody else with him. Now, I'm a salesperson. Obviously, I love to figure out ways that I can negotiate and ways that I can do things that are going to be, a win-win situation. But it did change the dynamics. I remember feeling it. It felt like there was a pressure, or it felt like there was a sense of, it was not necessarily squaring off, but it just felt that it brought a whole different dynamics where this person now had 2 of them. It was an actual team, an organization. And it made us feel, when they shared the number, that we were supposed to actually go with the number. It was a it was a good idea for them. It was a great strategy. And I highly recommend that you think about using something like this. But it goes further than that, but it just worked. In his favor, it did. Because naturally, we were going to help them. They were a referral anyways. But he said a number, and I didn't hit him back too hard because it was right within the wheelhouse. And also, it was a little bit more than I was willing to pay. But because of that situation and the pressure, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and help out the guy. But after looking back on it, I was like, hey, kudos to you. Good win. Good win. He didn't take advantage of us. He did a fantastic job. But the point is, there was a perceived strength when two people came rather than one, as well as when you have it felt a little bit more professional that they had a team rather than just one solo individual. So now let's go forward with you as a sales rep. You're listening to this and you're like, Donald, well, I don't do a lot of demonstrations and I do stuff by myself because it works more effectively. Let me give you an idea of some other ways that you can apply it, and maybe you can test it out. When you send emails, sometimes you might think when you send a solo email to a prospect, the prospect might say, well, this person is sending clearly, this one person from this team sending out an email to me. But if there are two people on that email, the likelihood now of the buyer or the prospect opening that email, I have seen increase significantly because of the simple fact there's somebody else tied to that email. What's so important that multiple individuals are tied to the email? So in your company case, perhaps you have your CEO has a bunch of emails that an email account that they have somebody clean up, or you have another email account or somebody else on your team that don't mind getting a bunch of emails, or maybe one of your team members or somebody else that can seem to be of more importance. Tag them on the email when you're doing that personal cold outreach. I'm not saying on every single cold outreach you send, but let's say I'm reaching out to a CEO of another company, or I'm reaching out to another leader or an executive at a different organization. Perhaps having someone else on that email from my organization puts it in a frame that there are two individuals sharing something. What is this about? Why do I need to listen? There must be some importance. It works. It puts a little pressure, and it puts a little bit more added influence or added necessity for them to at least investigate what's going on. So that's one way you can do it. 2, in your discovery meetings. Sometimes you go solo to these discovery meetings, and you may say this is a good idea or whatnot. Maybe other times what you can do is bring somebody else into the discovery meeting with you. I used to bring sometimes a project manager in with me, and this project manager was able to be a part of it to hear and to gain some insights. Now, obviously, for the economics of scale, it doesn't make sense on every single introductory call that you bring a project manager. But again, if something is worthwhile, if it's a deal size that's significant to your organization, why not bring somebody else in to help balance out that power, or to give you that little bit more of a perception as a more stronger candidate, or gives that little added good pressure. You're not going to be mob styling on anyone and force them down to do anything, but your project manager can be there to help ask some of the questions, or you can give them questions to ask, or in Jared's case, you could just sit there and just look pretty. It works. The third thing is in your demonstration. Whenever you're doing a demonstration, please, for the love of everything that's holy, do not do those demonstrations by yourself. I've shown you and I've explained to you the strategy that it works. You need to make sure you have at least 2 individuals in that, you and somebody else. And I would prefer that you do not give that demonstration, especially if you're a software company. Something happens in the mind of the buyer when the sales rep is giving the actual demo. The sales reps seem like they will say or do things just to get by. The perception, again, is it's a sales rep. But if you use a project manager or a sales engineer to give that demonstration, you could guide the sales engineer, but when the sales engineer answers question, again, remember, they do not have a stake in the game. They're just doing their job. And the perception, again, is that this company is big, this company is good, this company is professional, they've been down this path before. They actually have somebody prepared to give their demonstration. It's not like a little mom and pop corner store. This is a real deal organization, and there may be somebody I'm willing to work with. But again, it gives the added little bit more pressure and the less likelihood of you getting beaten up because somebody else is in that meeting. And they would be, human behavior is weird when they find themselves in a situation like that. I think it goes back to our maybe our early ancestor lineage way back in the days when we were cave people or whatnot. But the concept that if somebody is by themselves, then they seem to be less threatening. But if somebody has two individuals, a group of people, then they seem to be a little bit more of a threat. Maybe goes back to our fight or flight kind of mentality, but we want to speak to those emotions and we want to present and to behave according to those things. Doing that this weekend, when I did this whole painting thing, the guys were coming together and they were too stacked. It made it that I was less willing to push back against them as much because there were two of them. It's weird. I look back and I evaluated myself. Again, maybe because I already knew they were a referral and I believed in their capabilities and their work. But either way, there was presumably an added pressure when two people were involved. So go ahead and test it out yourself. When you send that next email to a top quality lead or top quality prospect you're trying to get in touch with, try it. See if they don't open that email, if it increases your open rate when you add somebody else of more significance or more importance to that email. And also, when you have that meeting, try it and see. Not with you don't have to do it with everybody, but try it with one of your significant prospects. If you bring somebody else in the meeting, how that balance might be. Warning though, you need to do prep before that meeting, and you need to make sure they understand their roles and what they need to do or what they should not do or say. Anyways, I hope this concept helps you out. I hope you try it. Perception is reality, and you know what? There is strength in numbers. I want you to try it. I want you to be ethical. I want you to do things that's going to be in your best interest and the client's best interest. But I also want to make sure you guys understand that there's simple strategies that you can take advantage of. And please, I want to make sure I clarify, when I say in your best interest, I'm not saying that you need to take advantage of anyone, please. What I mean is that I want you to be able to do things that's going to be a win-win for both you and your client. And this is one of those simple things. As always, I want you to succeed. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to be able to close more deals. I want you to take advantage of my friends over at Crumble because they have an amazing software and it's simple and it's easy to use and you don't need some expensive genius to set it up. It's an easy peasy tool and it's built on Trello, so you can just quickly move your deals along and it doesn't take forever. I highly recommend it and I want you to check it out. Find all the details. Go to Crumble. I'll spell it for you. crmble.com/TSE. Again, that's crmble.com/TSE. As always, I want you to be here. I want you to succeed. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. But most importantly, I want you to go out each and every single day and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up in the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.